All right. Hopefully our Wi-Fi hangs on.
Good morning.
Good morning. All right. I think we are live. Welcome everybody. It's 10 a.m. My name is Scott Hamilton. I'm with the product team here at Energy Domain. With me is our CEO, Benton Heinzelmann. We're going to do a quick webinar. We haven't done one of these. I think the last one we did was a few months ago. We've done 5 or 6 of these since we basically started them early last year, since we released the data product. So today will be pretty fun. We've got a few things that are on our description for the webinar, which is around. I'm going to show off the econ module that we developed and released about a month ago. Our new filter by map area filter feature that is heavy in demand, was heavy in demand, and got a lot of good feedback there. Ben's going to talk about Texas ownership, and we're actually going to sneak in quite a bit of time on our new product, Title Lab. So Title Lab will be coming, we'll be taking the product down on Saturday morning at about 5 a.m. and releasing a full revamp of all of our data products, which are our new rebranded data product, which is Fundamentals, and Title Lab. So we'll be talking a lot about that soon. Been working on that for about a year, so we're super excited to get that to market. So yeah, I'll go ahead and jump in. I'll share my screen and do a couple quick workflows, talk about a couple features, then hand it off to Ben. Let me see, share screen, entire screen. Let's go 3. Actually, let's go window. This one. This one. Here we go. All right, I think you can see that. All right, here we go. So yeah, so a couple of features we want to talk about. I'm going to spend a little time on today. I'm going to be our econ module, and then we'll talk about the filter by map area. So if I go into econ, to go into econ module, I'll just quickly filter down into a saved filter set that I have for COPs, Eagle for the last 24 months. Wells that have come online is about 132 wells. I've already ran a type curve for this, so I'll go ahead and jump into that. I just wanted to use this as a moment to show off the wells that we were actually looking at in my saved models page. I could open this up, and there's a forecast type curve and now an economics. So I'll go ahead and actually kind of kill these off just so we can start fresh, and we'll look at the forecast. And when you come into here, I've run a forecast on one of these wells, of these 132 wells. If I click run econ, what this is going to do is pop up this new page that we've developed, which is giving you a bunch of inputs, right? So to run econs, you've got to have inputs to apply the value to the volumes. I've already previously ran the volumes and saved them off, but in here you got your pricing, you have your interest, you have working interest and NRI operating, your OPEX for a PDP workflow, and then prod taxes if you want to bake those in. You have some econ assumptions for your discounted rate. We run defaults for 0 to 30. We'll talk about that here in a second. And then you can also run a custom. So I'll just do something like 10.75 to show you what custom looks like. And then you pick your effective date, which we default to current month and year, and we'll show you what that looks like. So when you run this, you're going to get the custom value that you inputted, your discounted rate here. You also get the defaults that we calculate, so your PV0 through your PV30 all through. So what this is looking like is we actually show the full curve of the NRI, and we actually have a cash flow chart right next to it, which your effective date kind of hung up on a vertical bar. The table is from effective date forward. So what you do there is you can export this information out. You can come in and tune this how you want. If you want to change your flat pricing, you want to change your interest rates and everything, you can do that. Save this off. You can sit here and save that off. There you go. We're back into our forecast panel, and our economics is right here. So there's our NPV that we calculated for that PDP workflow. Do a quick workflow also for type curve. I'll sit here, go to the same workflow, type curve, run economics. Same inputs, except obviously we have CAPEX, since we are putting we are doing a PDP workflow here, so the well doesn't actually exist. It's just volumes. Same inputs, working interest, NRI.
PUD workflow, right?
What's that? Oh yeah, sorry, yeah, PUD. Yeah, PUD workflow, not PDP. The CAPEX, you got your investment, your upfront investment, your OPEX, same workflows going through here. Run your volumes. So now you get your NPV, your ROR, your payout in months, and then your break even based off of our calculator. Again, same thing, export this, bring this into your CSV, your workflows, whatever you want to do, save this off into our platform and go from there. So kind of quick workflow. We're continuing to build this out. We're adding more widgets to the forecast and type curve module. We're continuing to get feedback on our econs and improve, potentially adding some sensitivity options going forward. But these will continue to live and sort of cross into your account.
Yeah.
Uh,
So Scott, one of the questions, and this is a good question, was, I mean, he basically was asking, can we change the prices by year? You know, obviously using strip or whatever. That'll be a bolt on that we're going to add to this. Right
yes,
now, it's
correct.
flat. We wanted to get this out to our customers. We had several current customers that signed on, knowing this was going to be released. We wanted to go ahead and get it out. And this is, guys, just so y'all can appreciate, you know, we're not trying to replace combo curve areas or PhD win here, right? This is all about quick deal screening, specifically as it relates to, you know, the minerals and non-op side, just these guys being able to quickly get in, you know, what's the PV10 of this well, right? Like do a quick forecast, and then as this continues to improve, we're going to add in full project econ. So you'll be able to import however many APIs you want, bulk forecast those. Obviously, kind of flip through the fits, make sure you're good with the fits, and then you can go ahead and apply whatever economic parameters you want. It just builds the cash flow model for you directly in the application.
Yep, correct. So to get to market, we got flat pricing, but yeah, we will build out all the dates. The date models are really what expands the model that we'll continue to build out as we get feedback like that.
Yep.
So yeah, so that's our econs. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. I'll sit here and I'll kind of jump into the next feature that I want to talk a bit about, which is, let me see here, clear everything out. There we go. Which is up here in the filters. There's a filter by map area. So by popular demand, a lot of customers have demanded this. That, you know, we have our big filter panel with lots of filters. Everybody's happy about that. But there's the ability to filter by map area now. You toggle this widget on, and we can sit here and drill into specific areas. So as we drill in, all of our data counts and all of our data is going to update kind of in real time based off of what's in the view of the map. So in this view right here, I've got 8,000 wells, I've got 17 rigs, I've got Texas ownership. Ben will talk a bit about that here in a bit, but we brought our full Texas ownership data into a full table here with filters and everything. That's also being driven by this map area filtering. So as I move this over, I'm able to sit here and continue to reduce and update my counts that are in view. This also applies both ways. So not only am I updating what's in my table and what's in my counts here, if I go ahead and apply, if I apply a filter, say something like confirmed interval, and I type in like a Wolfcamp A, and do a search. There we go. So this will continue to apply as you drill down into it. I'm in my map area I only care about, and now I want to continue to filter further. Type in Wolfcamp A. All that's going to continue to reduce down all into your table to give you exactly what you're looking to get. So we're super happy about this. This is, you know, we're adding more to this. We're going to continue to add more data sets, make this more performant as we go forward. But so far, a lot of our customers are very happy with this feature, with being able to navigate the map and have all of our data update in real time. So real happy about that. Well,
Yeah.
I'll sit here and hand this off to Ben now. Let's see. I'll stop sharing that guy.
Yeah, so you know, we've told you guys since the beginning. We started, you know, building this subsurface platform, right? But ultimately, we want to be, you know, a product that is kind of at that intersection of subsurface and land. And one of the biggest requested features was tax roll, you know, mineral and appraisal data in Texas. So we first, similar to the econ rollout, where obviously we're going to get out kind of the first iteration of that. We did the same for the appraisal data, where it was at the well level, right? You could click on a well, it has the ownership, you know, the mineral and royalty owners, the working interest owners, and all of that. We have since also integrated that into the filtering. So there's essentially two ways to leverage this, and I'll show you guys. I've shown this on previous demos, but for you land guys, this is, you know, our platform is awesome as far as allowing you to build quick shapes, right? So if you come in and you're screening a deal in a few sections here, right, you can always build out these polygons quickly. So I'll just double click to finish the first shape, and then you can keep drawing, right? You can build out as large of an area as you'd like. as long as it doesn't exceed 10,000 square miles in area, which is pretty hard to do. This is building it all into one shapefile, right? A multi-polygon shapefile. You can save that, name it whatever you want, set a buffer, custom color code it. This will actually build a shapefile on the fly for you and stores that in your folder. So for those groups that, either they don't have access to a GIS consultant or they just don't want to, spin their wheels like sending basic legal descriptions to a GIS analyst where they could just quickly build it here. So I built one earlier here. You'll see these two tracks. So if you go into the track, you select the polygon, you can notice how it's selecting all the wells that intersect both on the map and in the table. So what you'll do to extract all of the appraisal data out of this is you'll go into the choose columns button here, and I'll add in lease ID. This will be the Railroad Commission lease ID. I'll then apply that. So I'll scroll over to the last column where you'll have lease ID. This is again all in AG Grid. So this functions pretty similar to Excel, right? You can scroll down in the columns. I'm going to hit Control C and just copy those. And then I'll go into Texas ownership here at the top. These were in Loving County. So I'll just select Loving. And then next to lease ID, there is this button that you hover over. There's a tooltip that says paste lease ID list. You just click that and you can Control V or paste and just vomit all the lease IDs. It'll locate those, expands it out. Now here are all the royalty interest owners in those tracks that I had selected or that I drew. The same thing applies if you guys had imported a shapefile. Just click the shapefile. It'll select all the wells that intersect, and you can rip down all the royalty interest owners and the working interest owners. The inverse also applies here, right? So let's just take Abilene Christian University. So if I deselect it, I'll just go ahead and click reset, and I'm going to go into owner, and I'm going to type in Abilene Christian University. So there might be a couple iterations of this. So yeah, there's 3. So I'll select all, go ahead and apply that. So it'll now pull down all their ownership, creates a heat map of everything they own in the state. And here are all the results here as well, which if you are a yearly subscriber, you can export those. So feedback here has been really, really positive. This has been in collaboration with a lot of our current customers. That's one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is, we can get this thing to 80% of where it needs to go. Ultimately, we really rely on y'all's feedback. So hopefully you guys like that. I do want to jump into Title Lab. So we put out a lot of content on this. This is a direct competitor to DI Courthouse. So I've mentioned this in the past. We brought on the founder of Texas File, Jason Smith. And over the last 11, 12 months, we've acquired 215 counties of raw courthouse records in Texas. We spent probably 7 or 8 of those months building a highly engineered prompt that is extracting and normalizing attributes from every instrument. The most important of those, obviously, being the legal descriptions, parties, dates, and all of those things. Ultimately, as you bring in data from the counties, you're kind of limited to the index that the clerk provides. So if you've used other products, you may run into limitations where you type in a legal description and the run sheet is incredibly incomplete. We are releasing Title Lab for 22 West Texas counties, as Scott mentioned, on Saturday. So I think we've got about 10 contracts already signed for that. So we'll be provisioning logins on Monday. I'm going to start going through that here. As I'm going through this, if you guys have questions, obviously put those into the questions panel there on the right-hand side, and I'll do my best to answer those. Also, if you want a separate demo, I think all of you guys are pretty accessible. You guys have my email. It's just ben@energydomain.com, and I'll either give it myself or I'll funnel it to one of our sales guys. So I'll get into Title Lab. You guys will see this at the top. So for those customers that have already signed bundled contracts for Title Lab and fundamentals, you'll see this pane show up at the top. So you can toggle between the products here. So I'm going to go into Title Lab here. So it'll provide a drop down of all the counties. Most of the high activity counties we will have back to sovereignty. I'll go into, let's just take Loving as a quick example. So we are not reinventing the wheel on how you search for records, right? We are extracting twice as many attributes as just about any product out there. But ultimately, we can appreciate, I'm a landman by trade. I've spent my time, running title. Everybody's kind of used to searching things the same way. So you can search on instrument type. This is a multi-select. You have the instrument number, book volume page, acreage count, number of legal descriptions. There's a range here that you can apply, recording date range, effective date range, and also legal descriptions and parties. So if you want to search for any party here, obviously you can, whether they're grantor or grantee, you can do that, or you can specify if you want to search specifically a grantor or grantee. So I'm going to give you guys a simple example here. I'm going to pull up any mineral and royalty deed in Loving County from, let's do January 1st, 2025 to present. So it'll return all the results. And again, this is going to look pretty similar, right? We're not reinventing the wheel on every landman's used to kind of seeing it in a list here. There are a few things that I want to point out. So if you've used, I don't want to just pick on text file, there are other products, right? But if you've used these other products, at times there are limitations. You'll see, 2 or 3 parties et al. So we are actually extracting all the parties using the model. So as you scroll down, you'll see like this is an estate with mineral and royalty deed and an estate granting the interest to 10 different parties. We've extracted all the parties using the model. And then if you look in the second to last column, we have number of properties. This is one of the bigger differentiators here. So we are actually extracting and normalizing every legal description from every instrument and storing it in our database. So I want to be clear, there are other products that will like summarize a document on the fly. Any of you guys are smart enough to drag and drop a document into ChatGPT. You can't do anything with that unstructured data. We are structuring the data and allowing you guys to search on that. So we are running about 300,000 instruments a day through the model on the front end and then storing the attributes in the database. And that's what you guys are searching on. So I'll give you guys a simple example here. This is a deal that I sold last year, if I can find it here. So right here. So this is, you can see Wolfcamp into West Bend. So there are 78 legal descriptions on this instrument. If I double click the row here, this will open up the PDF preview and it will load all the properties here. So if I scroll down on the mineral deed here, you guys will see on the exhibit, there are about 8 different counties and there are 78 legal descriptions on this instrument. So even if you were to go, obviously, purchase an abstract, right, for Loving County, I think a majority of the tracks here are in Loving. You would receive this would actually populate in the run sheet, right? But again, there are 78 tracks spread out across 8 different counties. We have programmatically extracted every attribute for every legal description for every county that is on this instrument. So you guys can see we're storing section block, abstract, survey, acreage count. And we are also, this is kind of a nerdy title thing, but we are nesting the prior references at the property level. So again, other products will have a column for prior references, that is just kind of a general column with no relationship to the actual property. So we are nesting all the prior references at the property level. We are also extracting all of the interest types and the nets that are conveyed into each party. Again, this is captured programmatically, including, if you also have, if there's an exhibit B with a list of wells, we're extracting those with the API numbers. For leases, if there's a continuous drilling obligation, horizontal, vertical PU clause, that is also captured in the data. So the biggest differentiator here is you can export data from a single document, from a combination of documents, that sort of thing. And before I show how you do that, I do want to get into building a run sheet, just searching on a legal description. So I'll go into Ector County here and I'll pull up, I'm going to type in section 11. So it'll be a pretty populated drop down here. For you Texas land guys, we actually did separate block and township. I got a lot of feedback on that. This is how we're doing it now. Feel free to disagree, but I put in block 43 and we'll do township 3 south here. So when I apply, I'm going to pull this run sheet in. So it's returning 365 instruments. There are other comparable products that might return about 30. So this is going to get you, we've essentially programmatically built abstract plans. This will get you to about 90% of the answer at a small fraction of the cost, which I'll go into later on. So once you build your run sheet, just select all the documents, click add to run sheet, and then we will just build a new one. So I'm going to call this Ector County. You can add in a code. If you guys are a land brokerage company and you're tying into an invoice, you can add in a code or a project tag, add in notes if you'd like, save that. And now when I select Ector County, it returns all the results here. So we also have added the ability to collaborate on a run sheet. So if you come in and identify a number of documents that need reviewed, just select those documents, click needs attention. Once that's viewed, that the other landman or general counsel or whoever will come in, click reviewed. It will obviously kind of gray those out. And if you want to export data behind the instruments, this is again the kind of the big differentiator here. So if I click download, there are a few ways to export the data. So you can export a basic index, which is essentially what other products will allow you to do. That will include all the columns that you guys will see here. It's the basic stuff: recording date, instrument type, grantor, grantee, instrument number, all that good stuff. You can also export the basic index with the PDF bundle. So this is the big differentiator here. For you guys who are really starting to leverage the frontier models, this is where this gets really exciting. So with all of these attributes that I explained earlier that we are extracting from the documents, it doesn't make sense for us to smash that into a CSV. This is all, our schema is pretty complex. You can export this in a JSON format. So you can export just the raw index, the advanced index with the JSON, or you can export the advanced index, the JSON with the PDF bundle. So if you guys are using Claude or Gemini and any of the other frontier models, rip that in and you can literally converse with the chain of title. So this is essentially laying the foundation for us long term for the counties where we have documents back to sovereignty. We can kind of loosely auto chain title and come up with an ownership database. At a minimum, I think most of you mineral guys would appreciate just having a list of the mineral owners in some of these sections where you might not even have appraisal data, right? It's white space, or there's not, producing wells. Obviously the appraisal data is still a year old. There are all kinds of transactions that happen from 2020 to 2025 appraisal data to today. So anyways, this is really exciting. We are going to, so right now we're in, like I said, releasing 22 counties in West Texas. Our coverage map, by the way, we released our brand new website last weekend. So I encourage all you guys to go to energydomain.com. And actually, I might just pull it up real quick. If you guys go to Energy Domain and you go to the top, just go into data and I'll click Title Lab here. And when you scroll down, this will actually have our coverage as well. So if you hover over the county, it will show the oldest document that we have in each county. We will be expanding into Lee and Eddy counties. I'll have an update on that here pretty soon. As I mentioned earlier, we already have 215 counties of raw data in Texas. So we will be releasing the East Texas and the South Texas counties. This is actually a incomplete map. We also have kind of the Shelby Trough counties in here as well. I would say general timing, don't hold us to this, but I think East Texas will be out kind of end of summer if I had to guess. South Texas will be just shortly thereafter. So we're moving very, very quickly on that. We also have plans to move into other states, and I'll have more of an update on that hopefully in the next few weeks. So anyways, really, really exciting times. We've got a little bit of wood to chop, but we did have a kind of a small beta phase with a handful of users. Feedback has been really, really positive, and we're going to continue to iterate on this. We are standing up. Our plans are to stand up an MCP for both Title Lab and the fundamental side. So for you guys, again, who are using the frontier models, this is going to be revolutionary. So very exciting. Scott, you want to get into some of the questions?
Yeah, I got a couple questions for you, Ben. Can you discuss the enhancements in Title Lab versus comparable products?
Yeah, so it's kind of what I explained earlier, right? So we're extracting all of the legals across county lines, right? So essentially programmatically building these abstract plants. And the difference is there are other products obviously that offer abstract level that are crazy expensive. This will be at a much, much lower price point. So it's going to get you guys to like 90% of the answer. Not to mention, this will also integrate directly into fundamentals over time. So as you guys build a run sheet, you can auto-generate a map that will funnel a shapefile directly into fundamentals. You can export all the data out, build your PHDN, combo curve areas, databases, in just one seamless workflow. As far as the other attributes we're extracting, as I mentioned earlier, we're pulling out the net interest conveyed, the type of interest that's conveyed on each instrument. As I mentioned, PUD clauses, continuous drilling obligations. We're expanding into depths, reservations, all of those things. So again, that's kind of the big differentiator here, in addition to extracting all of the parties using the model as well. So that is, we're really excited about it.
Yeah. Next question. How do you work with meets and bounds legal descriptions, Ben?
Yeah, so meets and bounds, interesting. It does extract all the meets and bounds in the text, so you will see that in the legal description. We are not going to auto map meets and bounds. I think that most of you would agree that is a losing proposition. There are some applications that can kind of loosely do that, but we are adding on the fundamental side. We will have a leases tab that will spatially show the leases as they come in. We will at a minimum tie them to the abstract level. So you'll be able to kind of click the abstract on the map and then just flip through the leases that have been filed within whatever date range constraint that you have set. So that's how we are handling that for now.
Yep. One question was, how often do you update title?
It's updated as frequently as the county will allow. So some counties will be weekly, some will be monthly. I think initially, we're still a little bit of a skinny team here. At a minimum, it will be it'll be updated monthly. So when we launch Saturday, the goal is we'll have everything up through May is the goal, and then obviously as we get to the end of June, we'll pull in June. We already have, I think that's the beauty of Jason coming from Texas Files. He did it for 23 years, so he's got some processes that are pretty dialed in for us to request the data.
One question was, do you have title records for East Texas? But we kind of covered that a little bit in the roadmap right here.
We do. We actually built the model first on a couple of East Texas counties because we figured if we could get it right in East Texas, we can get it right just about anywhere else.
Yeah.
So we started in Anderson. We already have Anderson completely indexed. So we will be releasing East Texas counties in very short order.
Yep. That's pretty much all the questions.
Yeah, I did see. So there was a question in here. Does Ector County have access to their abstract plans? So I want to be clear here. Abstract plans, as you guys know, have been built manually. It's like teams of people that, over the last 125 years go across the street to the clerk's office. They bring the documents back for the day, and they are manually tying the section township range like to an abstract number. We are doing that programmatically, right, at a small fraction of the cost. So again, I would say, and I'm not going to like BS you guys, it's not going to be a perfect abstract V1, right? Like we'll get you to 90% of the answer. And I think most of you guys on the minerals, non-op side, and even operated side would agree that if you can knock out 90% of that, at the very beginning at scale, that makes a very material difference. So the only thing keeping us from getting to 100% is some of the older records that are in cursive. Believe it or not, the models are actually pretty good at capturing most of the attributes. We are playing around with some of the latest frontier models where we're just going to be running some of the older cursive documents through those. We also do have an offshore team that is going to be manually tinkering with those and improving those. So the quality will just continue to improve over the next few months.
Yep. Yeah, and there was one question earlier about what controls are in place to prevent something like hallucinating a grantor, and just some feedback on that. Like, we have accumulated in this office in Fort Worth thousands of hours of testing and refining how we process these documents to prevent that. So we definitely err on the side of caution to prevent the machines from ever hallucinating really anything. So so just all that to say, like, our error rate is incredibly low, well below 5% from what we've tested, and hallucination isn't really any of our issues.
Yeah, and I will say too, guys, we are, so if the model is pulling out the same number of parties that is coming from the index, we are using what is coming via the index. just to avoid any sort of a situation like that. But with the latest round of models, I mean, the accuracy is incredibly high. So there are some questions around pricing. If you guys would just send me an email, I'll hop on a quick call with you and walk you through that. It's going to depend on the number of seats. This is not like a self-serve deal. We're going to give everybody that wants it access for 7 days. You can't export any of the data, but at least you can run searches and queries and all of those types of things. And then I'm happy to walk through pricing with you guys. It is very affordable compared to our competitors. There was a question around, what I meant by programmatically. So we've essentially, Karen, we have built a very highly engineered prompt that is extracting all of the attributes from these instruments and storing it in our database. So you're just going in and searching on what we've extracted programmatically using the model in Title Lab.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much everything.
Yeah, there's one more around. We've seen a problem with AI not recognizing a document because of clerk indexing. I'm not sure I fully understand the question, but making sure all relevant documents are picked up. We are pulling in every single document that is provided to us from the clerk. So we're not like, just because even for some of it's a very, very low percentage of the documents that are not able to be run through the model. I don't know, Scott, at this point, do we have any in our database that have not been run through the LLM?
No, I don't believe. I mean, we even ran the things that humans have a hard time reading, and the models are doing better than we are with the old cursive from late 1900s, right? Late 1800s.
The absolute worst case is it just reverts to back to what the index provided from the clerk has in the data.
But the document becomes it gets put into the system regardless. Yes.
Correct. Last thing I'll mention, I don't think I covered this. As far as exporting documents, Scott, can you talk about any limitations around, like, obviously, I think 99% of you guys are not nefarious, but we do have some general guardrails on exporting, but it's very limited. Can you walk the group through that?
Yeah. Exporting, it's very friendly, right? We get alerted on our side if there are any nefarious activities, but you shouldn't be limited for pretty standard workflows. Any standard workflows going on, putting 500 documents into a run sheet, exporting that's not an issue for us. Ripping down 500 documents that you want to analyze yourself is not an issue for us. It's when you start repeating that exercise hour over hour, day over day, that we get alerts on our side. So just FYI, nefarious activities will, be triggered to some degree for us, but any type of standard workflows, if you're going day over day, building run sheets out, doing your standard workflows, there are very few, incredibly few cases that would trigger any type of alerting on our side that requires us to just get on a call and talk about what you got going on, just to make sure that we're all on the same page, right? So you pay for the product, we want to give you access to the product, and part of that is taking information out of the product to use on your own. We want to make sure we support that fully, but pulling out hundreds of thousands of documents in one fell swoop is gonna raise some alarms.
Yeah, Jason asked a question, will you offer an API to allow those workflows to be automated? So Jason, the way I would explain it is, it's not going to be an API, we're standing up an MCP. So you'll be able to, using any of the frontier models, call whatever data you want.
Yep.
Yeah, really exciting times. Please spread the word, guys. I mean, we're still the little guy. We are not private equity or VC backed, as I've mentioned before. We are, we are funded by oil and gas professionals, management teams at E&P companies, mineral funds, mineral owners across the country, OFS guys. So would really appreciate you guys spreading the word. As you're at happy hours, whatnot, you hear people complaining about competitors, send them our way. We'd love to talk to them. Last question. Yeah, you've got that. What other states do you have comprehensive data for? Yeah, focusing on Texas right now. We will be moving into Leonetti and hopefully Louisiana shortly thereafter. All right, thanks a lot, guys. Really exciting times here, and also I'd love to on the fundamental side. We are constantly making improvements there. We're about to kick off our process to digitize all the units as well. So we will have a units layer starting in Texas and moving into the other states. So there really is not going to be anything that is limiting you guys from switching from competitors. So I'd love to walk you guys through it. I'm doing demos myself personally, probably 5 or 6 a day. So I'd love to visit with you guys one-on-one. As I mentioned before, email is ben@energydomain.com. Very accessible. Look forward to visiting with each of you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.